these messages from Gary talking about how I'm awesome. Left her out. Oh well. What is that? Meritocracy of its high form. All right, let me do the weather, and then we can pretty much just go straight to Aotearoa, New Zealand. Short forecast this afternoon. Periods with the chance of a shower. Unlucky to level 2. Also the top water line up in short forecast this afternoon. Northland, Auckland, Coromandel, plenty. Fine spells and isolated showers. Heavy thunder, plenty. From tomorrow afternoon. Waikato to Wellington, also Wairarapa, mostly cloudy today with showers from Waitomo southwards. Becoming fine tomorrow morning. Brisbane and Hawke's Bay, showers developing this afternoon and evening, some possibly heavy, clearing tomorrow afternoon. Taupo and Taihape, showers developing this afternoon, some possibly heavy, clearing tomorrow morning, but returning tomorrow afternoon. Fuller and Westland, also Nelson and Marlborough, fine or becoming fine this afternoon, but areas of cloud tomorrow morning. In Canterbury, mostly cloudy with patchy drizzle, clearing for a time this afternoon and evening. Lastly, Otago, Southland and Fiordland, partly cloudy about the coast with the odd shower, otherwise mainly fine. Ladies and gentlemen of Aotearoa, welcome to the pre-show for Trending. Not only are we going to do a pre-show today, we're also going to stick around for a little while after the show. I say that because we've only just gone live. The chance of anyone watching me right now is almost zero, but not entirely zero. So if you're one of the ones who is joining us, of course, we want to hear from you today, as with every day. So say hello in the chat, and let's just get our act together around here. Anything to report, Mr. Beatty?
Well, I also did notice that Liz has got in touch, probably for Andrew's show, to say, should there be a minute or two to spare? Would love to hear Waymaker. Understand if not possible.
Yeah, that'll go into the not possible category.
Maybe in the next hour.
Maybe. To be fair though, I can't make that promise.
No, because it's no longer your show.
No, I've got to hand it back.
After that.
Got to hand it back. And
we can pass that on to other Andrew.
Radio guys get very territorial if you jump in there and start changing their songs around. They're like,
it's all about the timing out.
Timing out is very important. Some people, such as one Mr. Urquhart Esquire, take it very seriously.
As he should.
I, on the other hand, well, it takes all types, is what we're saying. This is kind of nice, though. It gives us a chance to, just kind of come in cool, calm, and collected. You know what I mean?
Amen.
You don't want to be stressed out on the radio. It comes across. In your voice. It's true. You create stress by how you talk. Did you know that? Everybody watching right now, your voice tells people if they should be stressed out.
Well, I don't think any of the stories today should make you feel stressed out.
That's a good point. Let me double check. No, I think. Well, there's one about the job market.
True.
That might cause you to feel a little bit.
I'm actually going to, as we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a little bit of censoring, shall we say?
A little censoring.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, right?
What needs to be censored?
Well, just some words that,
Just some words. Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah.
Censoring involves get out of town.
I know. Just the use of some language that probably is just really to accentuate the situation.
I see.
But is unnecessary.
Right. Is this basically trying to say there's swearing in something?
There's some swearing in something.
Okay. Gosh, that was a long walk around the
Yeah,
okay. Let me just check with my external technical director to make sure that this stream is going out to other people. course, you can always confirm this for me right now by putting a message in the chat, can't you? Also, if you are joining us now just ahead of the regular show, thanks again, everyone who joined us for the last show. Had an incredible level of interaction from people and different thoughts on stuff and things. So that's always highly valued. We do hope to hear your thoughts on different things again today, because that's
Great news, by the way. We are indeed now streaming.
Oh wait, I can't do that.
Did you?
Don't do that. Yeah.
Oh.
At least it's not being recorded. Wait a second. It's fine. I'm getting a message through from Elmo. It turns out it's not fine. Sorry guys, I'll be back later. Let's test fire this for everybody as well.
You want to let people, if they've literally just logged on through to Trending, watching right now, I'll let them know what is going on.
Hello, everyone. This is the pre-show for Trending, so of course it's our weekly opportunity to spend the afternoon with you in person, not just over the airwaves, but being streamed on Facebook Live, on YouTube, as you have currently discovered. So it's a way of looking at the things that have happened throughout the course of the week and caught people's attention. And how do we know it's caught people's attention? Well, what do they go searching for, right? What do they actually go clicking on? It's one thing to tell me that you think it's important, but, you know, what do your clicks tell me? It's how you really get to know somebody. I wonder if you could, like, integrate this in some kind of a dating or courtship context. Like somebody tells you what they like. It's like, what kind of movies do you watch? And they say, oh, I like this, and then you can access their Netflix account and find out what they've actually been watching.
I like all types of music, and then they've just been listening to dubstep the whole time.
You know what it is? What you need to be able to do, everybody has this. What is your guilty pleasure on your Spotify? The artist that you listen to.
Selena Gomez.
There you go. There you go.
Her song, I think I've talked about this on air before. By the way, we're waiting for, the on air in terms of the radio to click over to when we'll actually go live and begin the show.
Yep.
So for just those on the stream right now, the year she released, I can't remember what it was, her song, Lose You to Love Me, which was like, it's a heavy breakup song.
Oh, yeah.
Super emotional. My top song on Spotify that year, undoubtedly.
Right. Yeah.
Had I been in a relationship or had a breakup that year? Absolutely not. No necessary, or no connection with the song, just ugly crying for no reason.
I love that so much. Gosh, what have mine been? You see, here's the thing. I could think of some stuff, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to make myself sound cool. I want to think of the most embarrassing.
You got to be honest.
Gosh. Oh man. Let me have a look. What's in my most playeds?
By the way, if you are watching on the stream right now, if you're here for the pre-show, just let us know you're here by leaving a comment below. It's awesome to know that you are here. We can see a few people are watching.
Hey!
We are about to begin Trending in just a few moments.
Yes. So exciting. This show, man, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's going to be as good as I think it is. I can't see why it wouldn't be. Well, but this is the thing with live. Right? We're talking with Bjorn about this too. Bjorn from Life FM, if you're wondering, part of the wider Rema Media family. But just how you never know until you do it. I think one of the things that I've learned about radio, I think actually we have talked about this before, Josh, you really got to get comfortable with the idea that you'll only really know if you do it.
Oh, yeah. You just got to give it a go.
And if you tried it and it didn't work, could you have done it better? Don't make that decision after just one roll of the dice. Gave it, say, 3 or 4, something like that. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah. It's the only way to improve
the
with
amount
this kind of stuff.
peek behind the screen, the amount of content we have to create for a daily radio show.
Yeah.
And you'll invest so much time and effort into making that thing work, and then it's done. Move on to the next thing. So you can't get hung up on it.
Tell you the simplest one too, which I know you'll vouch for, Josh, is when you're in a certain headspace, coming up with something to talk about on the show the next day, and you're like, oh, why don't we ask people, when was the last time you blah, 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 blah? And you're like, oh, yeah, great idea. Yeah, awesome, amazing. And then you go and do it, and it dies on its backside. Absolute crickets.
It just doesn't resonate
not
for
a text,
whatever reason.
Not
and
a phone call.
You'll have another day where you're like, okay, we just need to ask something. We need to fill that slot with something. Well, okay, we'll ask this. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah.
Goes off.
Yeah.
It's just like, who knows?
You know, my favorite example of that was actually something I wasn't involved with. It was when you had the Wheels and Doors convo with Rachel.
Oh, yeah, on this. Oh, not on this show, I should say, but on
on
Your
this
show.
network. Yeah, on Rima Breakfast.
Yeah. It did go off. We talked about that for a full hour.
Yeah, it was great. Are there more wheels or doors in the world? That was the question.
Oh, man. We're
Which,
going
by
to
the way,
revive that debate.
yeah, throw it in there. We've got a couple of minutes before we go live. So if you are on the stream on YouTube right now or on Facebook Live, in the chat right now, which one is there more of in the world, doors or wheels? I'm going to say wheels.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a wheels man myself.
I think I'm a wheels man. You should put that on a T-shirt.
Well, there's more wheels in this room right now than there are doors.
100%.
I mean, on all of these chairs, they all have wheels.
That's right. Exactly.
Every drawer,
Yep.
probably open,
Multiple
has
wheels,
wheels to
correct.
get it open. So that's doors and wheels.
I think it's because when wheels occur, it's very rare to just find the one. Like even technically, you say like a unicycle, that's one wheel. Yeah, but if you look at the actual, like the cog patterns and things like that on it as well,
Right.
there's multiple wheels.
Well, does that count? This is the debate. Does that
Right.
count as a wheel or a cog?
Well, you talked about a drawer before though. Does that count as a door?
That's what yeah.
So
Very good point.
how heavily literal are we talking about? Like a vulcanized rubber wheel? Mind you, does it have to have that? I suppose not. Early wheels didn't have them. Just a wooden cart. There's no rubber on those.
Ooh,
So
Tracy said she's on Team Wheels as well.
nice one, Trace. Thanks for kicking us. Do people call you Trace? Sorry if they don't.
We do though, because we're so close.
Yeah, you and I, we've shared so much time together. We're about 2 minutes away, I reckon, from show live proper.
We
Isn't
started
this
nice
cool?
and early today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which is good.
Anything you guys want to know, by the way, about being in radio, being in the studio? The goal is we might try and do this after the show today too, by the way, if you want to stick around. We're just keen to see how we can kind of develop this with you guys, because the big motivating force was to see how can we build our abilities to relate to you and hear from you and what's going on in your world. So obviously the news is the major component of this show, but we're keen to see where we can take it. So I don't know, man, just what's on your mind? What'd you have for lunch?
I mean, that's the blessing of radio. It's that
Yeah.
It's that difference in format.
Yeah.
To a podcast is that we can interact with you literally in the moment. You can have your say and do so during the show, by the way. If you want to text on through, you can, 8168 keyword Rima. But if you're watching the stream, which you obviously are right now because we're not actually yet broadcasting,
Correct.
just chuck a little comment below. We'd love to hear what is going on for you, what you're thinking, how you are reacting to these stories that we're about to talk about. The most trending stories over the week that was.
Yeah, so these are the ones that were the most popular. We'll talk about this all properly in a second anyway.
We're going to
If you just joined us now, exactly. Don't want to tell you guys how to suck eggs. You guys are the hardcore crew. You guys got here from the very start, so you know what's up.
You're waiting. You're like, come on,
Come on, guys.
get onto it. You know what we need to do to become real streamers?
Oh, what's that?
We need to then flick to the countdown.
Oh, I thought you were talking about having whiskey and cigars in the studio. But yes, a countdown would also be a thing.
Yeah.
Mind you, have you noticed most podcasts and things like that have those? It's never an exact science, is
Oh,
it?
no, not
It's
at all.
never.
It goes to 0 and then it just sits there for a couple of seconds.
Yep. All right,
And
here we
then
go.
you move.
20 seconds, team.
Okay,
Thanks
here
for
we go.
joining us. Let's go live with the rest of the country.
Live on air and online. Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Welcome to the highlight of my week, everybody. I hope it's rising up the ranks of the things you look forward to as well. It is trending. I am your host, Andrew Curtis, and we are about to take a dive into the things that have been happening in the country over the last week. And more importantly, what stories were Kiwis most interested in? What was the news that Aotearoa went searching for? Because, of course, many stories fight for our attention each week, and it doesn't always line up, of course, with the stories that you and I might want more information about. Do you ever get that feeling? You know, that the newspapers that you're reading or the TV news that you're watching has its own agenda of stuff that they think is important, and you're like, I don't care about this at all. I don't want to know. Well, this is your safe haven to reflect on those things, maybe learn a little bit about the country. Maybe you'll think more or less of your fellow man as a result. But thank you for joining me, and as always, biggest thanks for joining me, Josh Beatty, for making it possible today. Hello again.
Good to be here. Don't forget, of course, if you want to get in touch, you can. 8168 with the keyword Rima. In fact, we'd really love for you to get in touch. Send us a text. Or, of course, if you're watching via the stream, if you've just joined us, you didn't even know there was a stream, head to either Facebook or YouTube, find Rima. Easy, by the way, if you go to the website rema.co.nz and you can see the show happen in real time.
Yeah, so of course, if you can just listen along, that's fine as well. But we have one goal today to present you with this. Oh, by the way, just so you know, behind the scenes, one of these discs isn't working properly. So that whole transition was going to be really smooth, and now I have to do it this way. It's still not working. Third time's a charm. Unbelievable. Mickey Mouse operation. I can't stand it. I'm leaving.
Well, that was trending for the
2025.
One little hiccup and we give up.
That's it.
That's a very Gen Z attitude for us to take.
It is a little bit. We'll overcome, guys. We shall overcome together. But no, things that make you go, That's another way of looking at the kind of stuff we'll be covering today. And boy, are we covering quite the gamut. We have economics that's in there. I've got a couple of sports stories. We've got some entertainment news. We've got...
politics.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. In fact, you know what? Let's start with politics today, shall we? Diving in now to the most popular news stories as determined by Google.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
And here is the number 13, a name that, well, I have some familiarity with, Andrew Bailey.
The Andrew part, not the Bailey
Yeah,
part.
no relation. Not that it works like that
Although,
anyway.
on Life FM, here obviously producer Josh.
Yep.
We previously had a Josh on that station, so I go by Beatty. A lot of people think Beatty is Bailey.
Well, fair enough too. Beatty's an unusual name.
It is an unusual name.
What's the origins of it, do you know?
No idea.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
You never looked into it?
Nah. Let's not get into this, but the family history is murky, shall we say.
Well, yes, best not to dive into the Beatty family history. Mind you, things are a little murky for Andrew Bailey as well. He resigned as a government minister after a complaint was laid. Now, bear in mind, by the way, I'm just going to prepare you now that this story has ripple effects that could shape the political future of Europe. That is how significant this story is, ladies and gentlemen. Am I overstating things? Well, let's first hear from One News and see what they had to say about the Andrew Bailey fiasco. Do we know if that's his wife, by the way, to his side?
Ooh,
I say this
no idea.
only because that is one of the most unfortunate parts of the job description if you are married to a public figure, that when stuff goes down, you've got to do the perp walk with them.
Oh, the perp walk.
That's basically what it is, right?
Yeah, look, can't disagree.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, Andrew, sorry, if you make sure we are in program with the...
Yes, we are.
There we go.
Let's try this.
Phil's computer.
Today is one of those days. I have made the personal choice to resign as a minister and have offered my resignation to the Prime Minister, which he has accepted.
Yeah, the personal choice. Completely just spontaneously. No compulsion at all. It's not like, I'd done anything that could have... Anyway.
Bailey admitted to, quote, overbearing behaviour last week during an animated discussion with a staffer in his office.
I took the discussion too far and I placed a hand on their upper arm, which was inappropriate.
Asked what animated meant.
Lively.
And how he grabbed the staffer.
I held their arm.
Bailey explaining he was simply, quote, impatient to drive change in his portfolios.
Have you been aggressive like that in other situations?
I've never had anything like this happen before.
I think it's good that he recognised that he didn't meet his own standards. I think it's good that he then reflected on that.
But that reflection wasn't entirely self-initiated. In fact, the day after the staffer incident, it was business as usual for Bailey, who did an interview with One News.
Far out. That's quite the timeline. I wasn't aware that he was doing public interviews whilst all of this was going on.
Once a complaint was laid that evening, the reflection truly set in and follows a separate complaint last year after Bailey humiliated a wine worker during a ministerial visit.
Did he call the worker a loser?
Yes.
We've now got ministers sacking themselves when the Prime Minister should have showed some leadership and done that months ago.
It's a hypothetical because I didn't have to go there because he most importantly had recognised that his behaviour hadn't met his own high standards.
So that's Andrew Bailey, the former Trade Minister, Commerce Minister rather. Yikes.
Yeah, what do you reckon this was number 13 trending over this week, Andrew?
Look, we love a downfall story. It speaks to the lower parts of our nature. Well, I will say this too, by the way. It is an MP. And so there is wider significance for the rest of us when, they kind of come a cropper. Here's the thing that I want to ask you guys today, and maybe this belies my age and generation. I'm a bit younger than Andrew Bailey. Hopefully you could tell that. But
especially if you're watching on the stream, by the way.
That's right. Facebook Live and YouTube. The thing that I am interested to explore with you, as tactfully as I can, not knowing the full details here, but this idea of placing a hand on the forearm. Am I like a massive boomer for being like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the big deal? I mean, I don't know, man. When it says placing a hand on the forearm, you can do that in any number of different ways, I suppose. Like, was there like a real clamp-like grip, or was it? I don't know. But in almost no circumstance can I think of like a hand on the arm being like, ooh, like
a grab on the arm.
Am I? Yeah,
that's a different story.
Am I completely off base with this? Like, again, this is why we have the chat and the text for you guys to send through right now.
Yeah, 8168 with the keyword REMA. Super simple if you are just listening at the moment. By the way, welcome on into the show. Although if you are watching the stream, which you can, if you are listening, if you can get onto Facebook or YouTube Live. Super simple, by the way, if you are watching, leave a comment below. What do you reckon? A touch on the arm, is it a big deal or not?
So here's why I said that this could have ramifications for the future of European politics. You might think, Andrew, you're overstating things. You're being melodramatic. Let me just tell you something about the way God works, everyone. Sometimes you have an idea and you put it out there and it's like from your mouth to God's ears. And you're thinking, hand on the arm, how big a deal could it possibly be? So last night I'm thinking about this. I kid you not. I'm sitting in my bed doing the old late night scrolls. We all know we shouldn't, and yet we all do. If you are on the stream right now, brace yourselves, because you're about to see something that will shock and dismay you, if indeed you do believe that the hand on the arm is a resignation-worthy offence. Right now, President Emmanuel Macron is meeting with Donald Trump. They were talking about all manner of things, European security and Ukraine and all this kind of stuff. But during that conversation, Macron felt the need to interrupt Donald Trump, and he did so in the most egregious way you could possibly imagine, coming up on the stream right now. What's he doing, Josh?
He's touching his arm.
He's touching his arm. His hand is on Donald Trump's forearm. Resign. Resign immediately.
Did you hear, by the way, that there is a mysterious bruise currently on Donald Trump's, not arm, but hand?
Well, this is what happens. You let the arm go, and then suddenly Macron's smashing your hands in, isn't he? So, obviously, if we are to follow the lead of this particular story, we have a hand here placed on the arm. He was frustrated with Donald Trump. In this particular case, explaining how Ukraine funding works via Europe versus the USA. The finer details of that you can see on this BBC article. If you want to find the video yourself, you're welcome to do that. But is that not a hand on the forearm of the most powerful man in the world?
So his intent, correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Donald Trump was saying something, he wanted to make a correction, and
Correct.
in order to quickly change the course of action,
Correct.
he used his hand.
The old hand on the forearm. Hand on the forearm.
See, I've got to assume the Bailey situation is more forceful.
But is it not still a hand on the forearm? Are you not violating the bodily sanctity of another human being? Isn't that a great way to put it, by the way? Yeah. Are you
just being facetious?
I mean, 50-50.
Yeah.
Well,
Look.
look, it's very hard to not have seen it happen, right?
Yes.
But I don't know. A hand on the forearm. Am I a boot? Look, guys, if I'm totally out of luck, you can tell me. Like, if it happened to you, I don't know, man. I don't want to excuse really bad behavior, but at the risk of really leaning into modern online discourse, is that a bit snowflakey?
Ooh.
Is that a bit snowflakey?
Get in touch, 8168 with the keyword Rima, or a comment below if you're watching on the stream.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Time now to go to a sports story, and generally we limit our number of sports stories on the show only because if we went with every sports story that came up, this would just be a sports show. But there is a story that's been amazing to follow over the last little while, and that is of the Auckland FC football team in the Hyundai A-League in Australia and New Zealand. So this is their big football competition. For many years, we've had a team taking part, and to say they have failed to cover themselves in glory would perhaps be an understatement.
Yes, we're of course talking about the Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah. They haven't done well. And so you can start to think, gosh, it's amazing they managed to talk them into another team from New Zealand, considering how poorly the first one has done. Other New Zealand teams, for example, have tried to crack into, say, the NRL, following from the Auckland Warriors, and that's never been able to be pushed ahead. So how they got this across the line, I will never know. Turns out, though, Auckland FC pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad, and pretty immediate as well.
Yeah, they've basically smashed everybody. I think they've got wins against every team thus far. They're top of the table. And so we thought we'd play you a few of the highlights. In the meantime, though, for those of you who can't actually watch along on the stream, producer Josh, I thought maybe you could provide the commentary here.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, being put in the hot seat. Just quickly, Liz is listening. Sorry, by the way, Liz, I hope you did hear that we couldn't get on your song request.
Yeah,
We're
sorry
hoping
about
to
that.
do that later, but she said Andrew Bailey is known as a hothead.
Right. Well, look, if he has a series of lapses of judgment, then I actually would then be, okay, it's time to let the guy go. That's fine. So I suppose maybe there's an aggregation of poor behavior.
Yeah, the reputation then coupled with
Yeah.
the news that he
Yeah. So
touched an employee on the forearm.
So in isolation, though, hand on the forearm, fireable offence.
In isolation, probably not.
Yeah. And so while you're contemplating that, Josh Beatty, are you ready to make your football commentary debut?
Okay, I'm going to do my best watching in this little picture I've got here on my laptop.
Look, ultimately, it's only people on the stream who'll know if you got it wrong or not anyway.
That's true.
So you can say whatever you like, and they'd have no idea. On your marks,
point.
get set. Here we go, Josh Beatty.
Well, oh, and cross through, header in! It's a goal! No! Oh, no. Oh, no, turns out. Oh, he pushed him in the back.
Who pushed who?
So the Auckland FC player pushed the Wellington Phoenix player in the back to get the header. Oh, I'm well behind now.
Come on, Josh. Keep up with the game. Oh, look at this.
Man, can you just tell, right then, that
Yep.
goal just scored by Auckland FC, does it not look to you like the whole 11 players for Wellington are in the box defending?
Quick head
There's
count.
quite a lot there.
Entirely possible. There might be one slightly further up the field, just in case.
What an absolute cracker of a shot, I will say that. I used to play football. Used
Yep.
to be really good. Not anymore.
Okay, let's see how you go. One more that you can
All right,
commentate
cross
today.
through, header. And it's in! Look, this is not my future, I'll tell you that much. Oh, the crowd goes wild!
Double my money.
Yes, there we go. Look, I mean, I'd say well done, but there were some long pauses in there, especially between header.
I'm trying
And
to
goal.
watch. Yeah, look, I'd be the
You'd be the colour commentator, do
Yeah,
you think?
yeah.
Right, sitting on the sidelines
Not
and
the
providing...
one who's really anchoring the show. We know this from our dynamic, you know. This
Well,
is
I
why
just-
you sit there and I sit here.
I don't want you to feel like you're limiting yourself, though, mate. Like, you've got to sometimes lengthen your cords, as it were.
Okay, I will say, I mean, we had the idea that we would provide colour commentary for the game
Yep.
before we got onto trending today. Hopefully you enjoed that. I didn't realize I'd be doing it.
Yeah,
So
well-
I should have...
That's because I thought it would be funnier.
Yeah, I should have
thought, you know what
prepared
would be
myself.
great? Josh under the bus. Got him.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
So let's move on to a story that was now number one on stuff.co.nz. Would Stuff be the number one or number two news website in the country now?
I imagine number 2 behind the Herald.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I'm going to Google
Yep.
and I'm looking for New Zealand news,
Yep.
instinctively I'm typing in stuff.co.nz Herald, and then
When
stuff.
everything is premium, I go to Stuff. You go Herald first. Oh no, the article I want's premium. I wonder if there's a cheapo version on Stuff, and it is.
Or often it's on X or Twitter, isn't it?
That is so true. I mean, I've used X as a news service for years. I love it. Big fan, but that's a whole other conversation. Instead, the number one story on stuff.co.nz, actually as of yesterday, quite the film plot, I think.
Yeah, so how a massive methamphetamine shipment was disguised as paper is the headline we have in front of us.
I wonder how they were outed. Maybe they, turned it into envelopes and then somebody licked an envelope and couldn't sleep for 3 weeks. Man, the glue on this thing is, woo! I've gone through 15 envelopes today.
Reminds me of that plot line on Seinfeld.
Yeah?
Yeah, did you know that? George's fiancée?
No?
She passed away from the cheap envelopes that they got for their wedding because George didn't want to spend a wedding, and so she was, licking all the envelopes. And
poison envelopes, and it killed her.
Rather a dark plot line for sure.
That's genius writing though, isn't it? If you can make the death of a fiancé funny, maybe you disagree.
Welcome to Trending.
Welcome to Trending, everybody. So once again, though, this story, number one on stuff.co.nz, turns out that at an Auckland storage facility, a group of people loaded 14 boxes into the boot of a Jeep. That's the other thing that tips you off. They're driving a Jeep. Jeep drivers riddled with methamphetamine. We all know it. The white cardboard boxes had been shipped from South Africa to New Zealand inside a container filled with bubble wrap, yeah, I bet, and paper 3 weeks earlier. The people carrying them thought they contained millions of dollars worth of methamphetamine. So that story, though, exceptionally popular on stuff.co.nz.
I suppose we're hearing these days all these various stories around how criminals are trying to smuggle in drugs into New Zealand.
Yeah.
How do you dispose of these drugs? Definitely don't burn the paper. Recently, though, I saw a story where, and I wish I could remember off the top of my head. Sorry, I don't have it.
Yeah.
A passenger who was transiting through not New Zealand airport, but I think it was coming from South Africa as well, was seen. There's a video that's come up online of his wig being removed.
Oh.
And quite a few drug capsules found inside.
Really?
Yes. He got, I don't want to use the word, but I'm going to use the word scalped. And
there's never been a more appropriate time.
Yeah.
So be careful of bald people. They might have drugs on them. Is that the moral of the story?
Well, if they have wigs on.
If they have wigs on, of course, exactly.
Sometimes it's easy to tell.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's continue our march through the news stories over the last week. And now this next one, to bring down the energy just a touch here, Di Henwood. Now, he is somebody who, can I just say, I greatly admire. He has taken on a terminal illness with incredible courage and grace. He's used it as an opportunity to share his journey with the people of New Zealand. Now, Di was the number 23 trending search term in the country, but to be completely honest, I feel like he deserves to be a little better known from the way that he's been facing this illness. Started off being diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer, and now is dealing with the ongoing repercussions of this. He put out a video just to update people on the state of his condition. So before we say any more, let's hear what Di had to say.
Kia ora, gang. I just wanted to do an update regarding my post on Friday about having to postpone some of my Die Hard shows that I was doing with Notorious Comedy. My cancer-wise, I've been off treatment and had a beautiful summer, but as you can tell by my coughing, my breathing has deteriorated really quickly over the last 2 weeks. I've obviously got some tumour activity going on in my lungs, so I am going into chemotherapy a bit earlier than expected on Wednesday, and fingers crossed that's going to knock things back and I'll be able to talk and do what I love doing, which is comedy and breathing, of course. So I also apologise to the corporate gigs that I had to pull out of. It really hurts me, as I have always had a pretty staunch work ethic installed in me by my late and great wonderful father and my amazing mother, and showing up and doing shows means a lot to me. I'm going to do these Die Hard shows because it means a lot to me. Hastings, it's on. There's new dates for New Plymouth and Invercargill, but most of all, I love you all. I just need to hunker down, take care of myself, and get fighting fit. Peace.
So that is Di Henwood updating us on his condition right now. And Josh, what stood out to you there?
Well, my question for you, Andrew, and maybe for those listening and watching right now as well, is how do we as Christians respond when we see somebody who has such immense hope outside of a faith in Christ,
Sure.
even when battling the big C, cancer? I mean, in a Christian context, we've always lent, when I've encountered those who have gone through sickness and illness, on that hope we find in Christ.
Sure.
And it's just almost baffling to me to see Di, somebody who by no means has professed any sort of faith, as I understand it, but still seems to have this hope that lingers behind what he's doing, regardless of that fact.
Yeah, I think that we've often made our faith a little bit more exclusive than it should be. And by that, I mean all the good stuff is in our house and all the bad stuff is in your house. So, for example, I remember, especially when I was in youth events when I was younger as well, and you're like, oh, you guys are all having a great time. Out there in the world, they're all miserable. They're all drinking and smoking weed, and they're all sleeping around, and they're all having a horrible time. And then, of course, you actually go and meet them and realize, oh, actually, a lot of them are having a great time. And all I mean by that is that, people can enjoy life in all sorts of different ways. We make a lot about the fact that, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I can't do anything without him by my side. But every day we're confronted with people who have done very, very well with no professed religion at all. So to me, it actually speaks more about the abundance and character of God than it does about anything else. That God is happy for anyone to enjoy their life. That he's not sitting there going, you can't enjoy your life because you're not doing all things the right way. I think that's something we put on ourselves. God is gracious. He gives us the good things we don't deserve. That is what grace is. That's one of the ways, my wife will tell you, I use that phrase all the time, that life is about the good things you don't deserve. And sometimes we get upset about that because we see people who we don't think deserve whatever. And we're like, how can you? Because I'm doing all the right stuff. Well, if that's the trap you've fallen into, I kind of feel like you missed the point. You've got a little more Old Testament than maybe you realize, because to me, a fundamental is that life is about the good things you don't deserve. And if Di is feeling good and loving his life and he's grateful, then I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, amen to that. It feels like you're really pointing us to not fall back into that old trap of, if you're a bad person, you get bad. If you're a good person, you get good, which even as Christians, knowing the power of grace, we can fall into.
I will say this, though. The one thing that we can always do, and I think we are going to do right now, is pray for Di. Let's pray for Di, everybody. So, Father, we're seeing Di right now, telling us what's going on with his body. And in this moment, we know that you can miraculously intervene and suddenly he will be in perfect health. So we ask for that today on Di's behalf. Even if he would never ask you himself, we ask. Not because he deserves it, not because there's anything special about us, but because you love to do good things for people who don't deserve it. And we didn't deserve it. When you came to us and gave us a chance to know you through what Jesus has done. So we pray for that for Di as well. Give him that good thing that he doesn't deserve. And I hope it could be something that leads him to know you, not because, I don't know, out of some twisted, forcing him into it, but more just because it makes him curious about how good you are, and because our lives are so much better with you in it with us as well. So we pray for Di. We pray for a complete miraculous healing in his life today. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's send ourselves now to one of the other leading news services in the country. Maybe around about the 5 or 6 position, though. This one.
Yeah, not your stuff for your Herald.
No, exactly. No disrespect. Well, a little disrespect, actually. I was going to say no. You can't just say you're not as good as these guys.
They have a particular leaning.
Wait, that's the wrong way.
Oh, there we go. I was going to say, the first time you did it, the stream didn't catch it.
Nah, that's a shame. No, we're talking about the spin-off. Love watching the spin-off for the articles that pop up on that every now and then, just because they're so different from everywhere else. I highly recommend that, by the way. If you only ever have the same news services over and over again, treat yourself. Treat yourself to some, just a wider gamut, shall we say. But this I thought really interesting and worth discussing too. On the spin-off, the number one article, in fact, was all about hunting for a job in Aotearoa. So before we dive further into this, we've got a question for you.
That's right. Well, what do you reckon around this? Are you in the job market right now? If you are, how difficult is it? Or if you have any inclining, maybe in your own work right now, how hard it is to find a job? Do get in touch with us, 8168 with the keyword REMA if you're listening, or a comment below if you are watching on the stream.
So let's take a look. The article itself on the spin-off was talking about one position, 1,200 applications, a snapshot of New Zealand's job market right now. And it goes on to share the story of a woman by the name of Jean. And let me just read some of that for you as well, for those who are not able to read along on the stream with us. She said, "I feel like a small, dumb worm. After 7 years of working a string of dead-end jobs, she returned to study in her mid-30s to upskill and change her career path. She finished an honours degree in October and has been looking for work ever since. In November, Jean was hard out, direct quote, applying for jobs. Then December came around and there was nothing on Seek. There was no jobs." She might have used a strong word in between there to highlight how few jobs there were. Job listings cropped up again in January, and Jean began to apply for 3 jobs a day in her field and beyond. "I tailor my CV to each one, and all the cover letters are tailored. There have been a couple of interviews, but so many rejections, many that said that had hundreds of applicants, and worst of all, some applications have gone completely ignored. It's really hard," she says, "maybe impossible."
Man, I feel like a small, dumb worm. Just to start off that article, what a harsh.
It's tough. It's super tough.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out of work for a long period of time?
Thankfully not.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed in that regards. I did do an internship here
Yeah.
for a while, which was certainly, challenging but rewarding in the same vein.
Because it was an unpaid internship, right?
It was unpaid. And I was very blessed that it did lead to a job. But yeah, I've been here ever since. I haven't found myself going through that hardship.
I've had a couple of times in my life where one time in particular, actually a little bit before I came back to REMA, I decided to make a bit of a career pivot, but it took a little bit of while to get traction. So I would say it was probably about six months, maybe 9, without like regular employment like that. And I can honestly tell you how much it's an interesting one, because on the one hand, you want to go after the job, the future that you believe God has for you and the things that you're passionate about. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, but do I just take any old thing? Like, is it better to have something rather than nothing? So it certainly is a challenge.
Oh, when it comes to vocation and also surviving, having enough money to live, and then knowing this is the thing that I feel called that I want to do, but how do I actually get there? Particularly right now, it seems very tough.
Bit of a trade-off too, and because I like to cover as many bases as I can, I think one challenge that can sometimes come particularly to younger people or university graduates is that you feel you've acquired all this knowledge, that you've done the right thing. Everybody told you, go to high school, then go to university, get yourself a tertiary degree of some sort, and then live your best life. But what you can often find on the other side of that is that, first of all, there may not be any available work for the thing that you have now specialized in and possibly borrowed $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And then secondly, even if you do get that job at the very start, to put this tactfully, nobody cares what you think. If you've just started, if you're starting at the entry level in a new place, and that can be quite a hard pill to swallow as well. You're there, you've got the time, you've got the instinct, you've got the new fresh perspective, and you could really make things better, but nobody seems to care. Part of that, if you'll take the advice from someone such as myself, is like, well, that's the beginnings of, building your, dare I say, career capital, getting to the point where people do care what you think about stuff. But at the very beginning, it's often hard. So
I think the reminder also is that we want the trajectory of our career path to be, I'm a beginner here and I just eventually go up and up and up and up. And it's the straight line from beginner to professional expert. But it actually goes, bit of a loop here, troughs and valleys over there. It's not usually that straightforward. In fact, I'd say it's never, ever that straightforward.
Well, look, I don't know very many people these days who have done one thing their whole life.
True.
Like, that's the ultimate fantasy that people have. Study for something and then that's your job. It's like, mate, chances of you even doing the same career, let alone being in the same industry in 10 years' time, rather low. And that's not a bad thing, by the way. That's just the way life is sometimes. So we'd love to know from you right now, based on this article that, as I said, was the #1 article on the Spinoff website, spinoff.co.nz. What's it like in the job market right now?
Looks like somebody did get in touch, somebody anonymous on the text machine saying, as somebody who is hunting at the moment, definitely resonate with the worm comment.
Yeah.
Tough.
Tough indeed. Again, for what it's worth, I think this is where churches can really step up and show themselves. And by the way, I don't mean that in terms of a community or a program or anything like that. I mean it in the broader sense of having a community of people around you who think the best of you.
Yeah, you're not there to sweep in and give the job.
No, and it's not like, we're asking for additional programs and job search stuff and career coaching. If you can do that within your church, that's fine, but I'm just aware, some churches don't have the resources for that. What I'm trying to say here is that when you're feeling down, to feel down by yourself is an added layer of difficulty. And incidentally, for people who are feeling that way, the human tendency is to isolate yourself as well. So to have someone who's going to go after you and be like, hey man, haven't seen you for a little while, what's going on? Absolutely priceless for somebody who might be struggling for that. So I guess something else to be aware of and something else to be praying for.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's see what else we've got. And #5 trending in the country. Now, this is a very cool thing to see this high in our search terms over the last week, but Te Matatini 2025.
Yeah, the world's largest kapa haka competition. By the way, though, just before we get into that, I'm noticing there are a lot of people, which is really cool, Andrew, watching on the stream at the moment. Hey, just let us know you're there by commenting, saying that you're loving it. Let us know by leaving a comment below. We would love to hear from you. And if you have any feelings sorry or thoughts on the stories, let us know what's going on. Or, of course, if you are listening, you can do the same, 8168 keyword Rema.
That's right. Just say hello. Let us know, if nothing else, where in the country you are right now. It'd be great to get a picture of who's joining us and from where. So what is Te Matatini? Would you like to find out? You're about to. Let's see how stuff.co.nz talked about it.
55 groups from around Aotearoa are descending on New Plymouth for the world's largest kapa haka competition. Te Matatini is being held at the Bowl of Brooklands, nestled within Pukekura Park, and that is where we find the Hui's Julian Wilcox. Kia ora, Julian. So huge audiences are expected for this week-long event. 70,000 attending, 2.5 million watching. What's the build-up like there today?
Kia ora, Sam. Thanks very much for having me. Yeah.
If I didn't know any better, I'd swear that was a green screen. Does that look kind of weird to you?
Is that the distrust we have in media these days coming through?
Only a small taste of it, yes.
You could probably hear a group walking through the stage prep at the moment, actually. So the groups that are performing tomorrow get 15 minutes on stage just to settle themselves through. And I'm pretty sure I've got Te Rerenga Kōtuku o Ngāti Kahungunu who are on stage preparing for their performance tomorrow. Yeah, look, this morning the pōwhiri was amazing. We had a 20-minute poi from the people of Taranaki. The poi is a show of resistance, is a symbol of resistance, and also of peace. And that was one of the most significant bits out of the welcome to all those 55 kapa haka, as you mentioned, that made their way here. You're right, about 70,000 people, probably more. It's going to be a tremendous event. The sound is amazing here. And as you said, you're going to see the creme de la creme of Māoridom and all its colours and flavours evident over the next 5 days.
Oh, look, it's sounding brilliant there behind you, Julian. What does it mean, tell me, to be a performer at Te Matatini? A lot of nerves, I imagine, going on, but it's also the pinnacle of kapa haka?
It is, as I say, the best of the best, the creme de la creme. I have to tell you, I performed once, 1994, the last time the event was held here, actually, in Taranaki. It was actually in Hawera. And I performed with Sa Taranaki Māori Club, Pātea. And the pressure just getting on stage is immense. But it's the opportunity to show your culture, your identity, the pride in which you have in those aspects, te reo Māori. Also, it's an opportunity to share what you think about the current politics of the time. time. But it's also an opportunity to celebrate those things that Māoridom holds dear. Yes, you will hear some very direct commentary to political leaders from many groups. You'll also hear acknowledgements of many people who have passed on. And if you win, if you can hold the mantle of the winner of the Toa Whakaihu Waka, the winner of Te Matatini, like Te Whānau Apanui did in 2023, the defending champions, then that is one of the greatest mantles that no one can ever take away from you for the next 2 years.
Brilliant. Julian, it all culminates in the finals on Saturday. So how is it judged? And I have to ask you, who's your favourite?
I was hoping you wouldn't do that, Sam, because that puts a heck of a lot of pressure. Now, Māoridom's going to say to me, oh, you chose so-and-so. Look, it's judged by sections. The judges, they've got 5 days, 55 teams, so they've really got to be on song. There are about 3 or 4 judges per section: the entry, the march off, the more te Aotearoa, the traditional song, the poi, the haka, the choral, aggregate items, non-aggregate items. Look, if you were to ask me who's going to win, look, there are some teams tomorrow that are performing. I think will be there or thereabouts. The defending champions, Te Whānau Apanui, are performing tomorrow. I think it's just too tough to tell you. It's too tough to pick the top 12. 4 sections, 3 teams from each section. Look, who knows is really the only answer I can give. All I will say is, and I know this is a really weak way of saying it, Kapa Haka will be the winner on the day.
Hey, that's how you cover that sort of stuff. Nice sporting cliche to wrap it up. Good work.
Nice deflection as well, not answering the question directly.
What a pro. What a pro. Game recognises games, all I'm going to say. How
Exciting
cool.
stuff, though.
Super cool, man. I mean, more than 40,000 people as well expected to check that out. If you went along or planning on heading along, tell us about it, man.
It really reminds me of Waitangi Day in the sense of, I love that he talked about the celebration, the enjoyment, and the culture.
Yeah.
Because having been to Waitangi on Waitangi Day, we often see the coverage of the protest and the political moments.
Yeah.
And as he also mentioned, that will be involved in this. But to actually be there and experience it in its entirety, I think it's the reminder that it is not the sole focus. It is not its whole thing to be political and to be difficult or, to push against. It is also celebration and joy and fun.
Here's my question. Why isn't this televised?
I believe it is.
Really?
Yes. For the first time in a while, I believe, unless I'm incorrect, but I have seen advertisements, I believe. Do we have TV2 still or something like that?
Does TV2 still exist?
No, it must be TVNZ. It must be TVNZ, I think, is broadcasting it. So you could probably watch it online.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I would prefer, can we do a bit of a live Google and see if you can find something now?
Yeah,
Or is it easier if I do it?
No, I can do it.
You can do that? Yeah, because if there's like a YouTube live or something, obviously after this show, check it out. Why not? But I mean, how good? How good? Like, again, 40,000 people, they reckon it's going to have more than 2.5 million people to check it out, actually, potentially online as well. $22 million boost to the Taranaki economy as well. So it's a big deal, guys. And
you can stream it live on TVNZ Plus and Māori Plus, or jump on Te Matatini app, or the Te Matatini app for the real-time translations.
Nice work. So, by the way, if you are there, make use of the chat as well, or you are going to be checking it out. You have checked it out. Let us know what you thought about it today as well. 8168 with the first word, Rima. If you want to text us or head along to the stream, you can drop something into the chat. And, if you're at Te Matatini, you're planning on going, give us the inside word, man. What's it like?
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Someone else we're trying to find out what they're like right now, Pope Francis. Not doing too well. Now, admittedly, he is 88 years old, but he was the number 6 trending search term in the country over the last week.
Ross, by the way, is watching from Auckland. Thanks for getting in touch
Hey,
via the
get on your
comments in the stream, Ross. But yes, Pope Francis, this certainly has been one of the top trending stories. Where did you say it came in? Number 6, right?
Number 6 in the country, yeah. So, again, not been feeling too well. This is how CBS News in Australia. In America decided to update the world.
At the Vatican City, I should say, where there is growing concern for the health of the Pope. Pope Francis remains in the hospital for a 10th day in critical.
This is probably the wrong time to do this, but is there something to be said for just giving somebody a random sentence to say and saying it in newsreader speak?
Oh, man.
Like the tone, the intonation. Isn't that just, that was majestic.
While you're there, by the way, I think you should turn the captions off. I don't think we need them.
Do you not? Okay, fine. I mean, let's just listen to that again from the very beginning. This was just such a beautiful. Anyway, here it is again.
In Vatican City, I should say, where there is growing concern for the health of the Pope. Pope
Amazing.
Francis remains in the hospital for a 10th day in critical condition. The Vatican says blood tests show early kidney failure. Let's bring in CBS News Papal contributor Delia Gallagher. She joins us live from Rome with.
Okay, get out of town. You have a CBS News Papal contributor. Did you advertise for that person on Seek?
Also, she's huge.
She's enormous. Look at the size of this woman.
The very latest. Delia, thank you so much for joining us. We just got an update from the Vatican saying Pope Francis's condition is generally improved. That's good news. What more do we know?
Just so you know, generally improved is good news. I'm sorry, we're interrupting this all over the place today, but there's something about the newsiness of this that is just, maybe it's just the American kind of thing coming through. It almost feels partly like a game show segment.
Yeah, look, I also feel like I should clarify for those who are just listening. The woman who I said was very large.
Yes.
Was on a very large TV screen.
That's true.
She's, I wasn't I feel, yeah.
Yes, complaints to bsa.co.nz.
That's right, Liz. This is encouraging news, I have to say, especially after this weekend. The Vatican says it's slightly improved, meaning he hasn't had any further respiratory crises. He has been able to reduce the amount of oxygen flow when he was using the nasal tubes to get some of the oxygen. It was on a very high flow. They've been able to reduce that. And the kidney failure that was concerning yesterday, they say, is not a concern at the moment. So in all, it's a picture which is slightly more encouraging, as I said. And of course, they added that the Pope worked this afternoon and indeed called the Catholic parish in Gaza, which is something that he has been doing on a regular basis for the past few months. So that information also gives you a sense that Pope Francis is feeling a bit better. So certainly some.
So that is some good news. And of course, for our Catholic viewers and members of the Rima Whānau as well, we're good to hear the Pontiff is doing well. But again, 88 years old. I suppose.
Does the Pope get sick days?
I suppose so. I mean, as opposed to what?
Well, I just wondered, does he, has he chewed through too many and
what,
is he on unpaid leave now?
Unpaid leave? What do you get paid to be the Pope? Don't you have to take a vow of poverty in the first place?
Well, there you go. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What, you feel like he's got to make it up somehow?
Well, I was like,
he has to work Christmas, all right?
He does.
He's clearly got days in lieu, if nothing else.
We do wish him a speedy recovery. And once again, another point for prayer, Andrew.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of stuff to be praying about around the world, as is true every day, I suppose. But we're closing in on our top two stories.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Actually, somebody who I know is wishing that there was some prayer for healing. That was Joseph Parker. But more particularly, speaking about Daniel Dubois. Now, he was supposed to be contesting for the IBF world title in boxing. Now, Joseph Parker, for those of you who are not aware, Kiwi boxer. Actually a pretty cool story as well, by the way, because not too long ago, he appeared to be on the decline. He'd maybe had his title shot with Anthony Joshua a while back and didn't really put up too much of a fight. Lost a couple of other matches, and then we're like, well, I guess that's it. But turned it around, and now, was within a whisker of challenging for some really serious belts. However, his opponent pulled out 48 hours before the scheduled match went ahead.
Yes, so his replacement for the gentleman that pulled out was not exactly fighting fit, shall we say?
No, he was an all-round athlete.
He was. He struggled, shall we say?
Yeah, he got knocked out in the second round. Admittedly, it's incredibly difficult to step up on short notice, and in some ways, credit to this guy who he did end up fighting. Now, this guy was still a top 5 heavyweight, Martin Bakole, but no, knocked out in the second round. And so questions now around, who Joseph Parker is going to be fighting next. I don't know if you're a big boxing fan. You got some thoughts on this one, you can chime in. But really just wanted to talk about it briefly this afternoon because, well, it's just great to see Joseph Parker bouncing back and bouncing back so well.
Yeah, and the love for him as well coming through, obvious in the fact that was the number 2 trending story, as this is trending, by the way. over the week that was, Kiwis wanted to know more about Joseph Parker.
Yeah, they were searching for him in great numbers. So there you go, Joe. You might not have won the title, but you've won our hearts once again.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
He'd be like, great.
Great.
In fact, good. I don't have a belt, but I've got hearts.
That article did talk about how he is a little bit upset that it seems his desire to compete for a heavyweight title is being
thwarted.
That's exactly the word I was looking for at every turn.
Yeah. Also, he strikes me as the kind of personality, too, if you know much about the psychology of people, who, when they tell you, I think his exact quote was, "I'm a bit angry." But when it comes from people like that, when they start to tell you they're a bit angry, they're pretty angry.
I'm just a little confused, Andrew, because we've had a text come through, thank you to that person, who says it's what happens when you get old. But I'm just trying to think, what was that?
Maybe Pope Francis?
You reckon?
I mean, he literally is 88 years old.
I suppose. Is that what they were referring to? Thank you for your comment. I got to it too late, and now I feel bad.
If you have thoughts on what happens when you get old, you can let us know.
8168 with the keyword Rima.
Or, of course, you're in the chat too, by the way. I mean, if you're watching along and you haven't done this before too, still got a few minutes for you to join us. And, in fact, we're actually going to try and stick around for a few minutes after the show today as well, just to kind of say hello, get your thoughts on things, what you enjoyed, what you didn't, what we can make better for next time around. So a couple of ways you can actually find the stream links as well.
Yeah, what I would suggest actually is to go to rima.co.nz. You can find all the social media links, particularly for Facebook and YouTube there. And then once you're through, just click on the link and you'll be able to watch us literally here live.
And you can leave some stuff in the chat for us to talk about too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, number one story. Here we go.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
The OCR, ladies and gentlemen. The OCR, which of course, Josh, stands for?
The awkward encounter. No, sorry. Critical response unit.
Good. Alternatively, the official cash rate. Mortgage rates, of course. Mortgages, very popular. Well, popular is probably the wrong word. Very necessary. Yeah. Very commonly held. But the rates are dropping.
Look, I know this.
Yep.
I'm not very clued up in terms of finances. And,
yep.
You know,
and many things, really.
Well, look, let's not talk about it. But I know right now it's a buyer's market. That's what I know.
Yeah. Well, actually, my wife and I, for the first time in a number of years, decided to go house hunting over the weekend. We looked a little while ago, and back then, mortgage rates were getting up around 7 or 8%. We thought, heck no, can't afford that nonsense. But it's almost like, gosh, have you ever gone to like an SPCA or like a pet store?
Yep.
And you see the puppies like in the thing, and they see people walk in, and they're all hopeful and they're all bright-eyed, and their tail start wagging. That's a real estate agent right now. We turned up to a couple of them and like, oh, okay, so this one here, and and they're just, hoping for the very, very best. And then, later on that evening, I had to break one of their hearts because, of course, we took a look, but we're probably still, a few months away from being able to do anything about it. And, we went and saw the place at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. The agent had emailed me by 8:30 that night.
Wow.
So, props to her.
Desperate.
Tip of the cap.
Desperate.
And then had also emailed me a whole bunch of other stuff and then called me the next day.
Look, it's too needy.
All right.
It's coming along.
Yeah.
It's coming on too strong.
I feel I should see other people. It's not you,
real
it's
estate
me.
Agents.
I'm not ready for a commitment like this right now. So no, I had to tell. I saw the number come through and I was like, I don't know if this was a cowardly way out. Maybe you've done this as well. I was like, I'm not answering that phone call. So I just let it go to voicemail and then saw the text come through and then just went back and said, yeah, look, we're probably 3 months away. Admittedly, they'd shown us a nice place. Well, rather, we turned up to the open home. They hadn't shown us particular. I always like to postpone contacts with real estate agents until the last minute possible.
Why?
Because otherwise it's like putting blood in the water.
Oh, like it, yeah.
Like it's suddenly like, oh, I found this. What about this? What about that? I said, whoa, 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 whoa.
You work on my time.
Just calm the farm. All right, buddy? Just deep breath, inhale. Maybe I'll buy a house from you. Maybe I won't.
Should we get to the point of this story that is, the number one trending story?
I think people have probably figured out the knack behind this one. It's just that the official cash rate has fallen, which means mortgages are getting cheaper. Now, here's a challenge for myself. We're about to play a clip from Aotearoa, who is the head of the Reserve Bank. Still, for some reason. There are people who question his competence, just quietly. I might be one of them. He's about to deliver a speech along these lines about maybe what this means for homeowners and all this kind of stuff. My bet right now is you're going to say a whole bunch of words, and by the time he's finished the sentence, you will be no wiser for anything, any action that you could possibly take in regards to home ownership or borrowing. So let's hear what Adrian had to say.
In the near term, it may take a little bit longer. People want to see, other people spending before they do. And then in the medium term, it could come back quicker.
You've talked in the past about having this idea of least regrets. I'm wondering if you're still using that thinking framework and how it might apply in this economic context.
Yeah, so for this decision, the least regrets, fantastic questions. The least regrets one is, when you're really staring into the abyss of significant uncertainty. That's not this forecast. So there was really us thinking about what is the consensus medium-term projection, what are some risks. None of them are making us have to make, a significant move left or right. So, even if we played the mental exercise, if we had to buy insurance today, what would we be insuring against?
And that's... I can't take any more of that. I love the bit where the guy's like nodding along, like he's saying anything remotely. Did you learn anything out of that?
I learned that you have to be watching the stream, because only if you're watching the stream do you get Andrew's sarcastic death stare. You don't read these things when you're only listening. But when you can see Andrew's reaction to the videos that we're playing, it adds a level that it's just beautiful.
Well, I think the moment you're particularly referring to is when Adrian Orr's going, fantastic question.
Oh, fantastic
question. You used this term beforehand. It's like, is this guy a plant? Is this a plant? Is that what this is? Goodness me.
Did I learn anything?
Yeah.
No.
Nah, thought not. Thought not. But did you learn anything out of today, ladies and gentlemen? That is your question, because would you believe the time has marched on? It's almost 1 o'clock. We're almost out of time for the day. So, of course, again, just to wrap up that little story and put a bow on it, mortgage rates coming down. Will they come down further? Maybe. Is it a good time to borrow? Possibly.
I mean, we care, though, don't we?
We do care. Number one story in the country. I do feel like sometimes, though, it's like the same way that people Google the weather. Like,
right.
Are you really going to do anything
differently?
differently?
Are you keeping a passing kind of focus on the ORC? Is that what you're saying?
More doesn't really change anything. Like, okay, so this is happening. Okay, so what does that mean for me today? Well, nothing really. But maybe, I don't know. But then again, I don't own a house. So if I did, maybe I'd feel it more deeply in my heart. But I don't. And so that brings us towards the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, what a gamut we have covered today. We've covered the Pope, unemployment. We've covered Di Henwood, the absolute legend that he is, and had even taken a few moments to pray for him. Josh has taken his first strides towards becoming a professional football commentator.
I don't think it's in my future.
No?
Look, I'm not going to lie. Again, maybe that's a demonstration as to why it is not in my future.
I don't know.
That weird noise I just made.
No, see, those kind of moments add to a bit of audio drama, though. They make people hang on. Like,
well, do you remember
what weird
that
noise will Josh make next?
Do you remember the commentary of that moment from the All Blacks game that we used to love?
Yes!
What was his name? The commentator's name?
No, I can't remember this. Sorry, guys. We'll try and find it. If you actually tell you what, if you want to stick around for the pre-show, the post-show, then we'll see if we can find it and play it for you. But we are out of time. That's it. That's us. We're done for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been trending. The news stories that Aotearoa was searching for. What will you crazy Kiwis go looking for next week? Only time will tell. But do feel free to stick around if you are on the stream, either on Facebook Live or on YouTube. We're going to keep broadcasting for just a little while longer. But otherwise, the radio must march on. Have fun. Be good. We'll see you next week. Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer live on the radio, but here we are together. I wonder if we can find that. I'm pretty sure that clip is bound to be in here somewhere.
In the Rumour Breakfast clip spin, for sure.
Is it that, or no? It was a rugby commentary thing.
Yes. Now this was back in the day when you and I did the Rumour Breakfast show together, so it's a little old. We haven't done that in a while.
Oh wow. Okay. And it was what? Just rugby Rugby goes wrong or something? Commentary goes wrong? Was that the bit?
All Blacks versus search All Blacks, you might find it.
Oh, that's true.
By the way, if you are still watching, thank you for sticking around while we have a little bit of fun here.
Yeah.
The point being, as well as we have a bit of a post show, we'd love to know, what did you think of trending? If you have some critical feedback, we are happy to hear it. You can still get in touch in the comment below, in the comment section below. We'd love to know if there is something you loved, something you didn't like. This show is for you. We're here, to let you know what is going on across not only New Zealand but around the world in terms of trending results. But we are also always looking to improve the show.
Yeah. So again, just jump in the chat or something and let us know what you thought. Anything you maybe expected us to cover and didn't, or maybe just comments you didn't get around to at the time. I am scrolling through to try and find this. So I know the audio's in here somewhere, Josh. Last attempt here.
Did you search All Blacks?
I did. Didn't do it. This is the last chance to just dive all audio. Riveting stuff, I know. This is why we have to do this on the stream, because we can just kind of chill a little bit. It's not that big a deal. If you're still sticking around for this part, by the way, just say hi as well. Love to hear from you there. But I know I played this to bits. Like, I certainly...
There's some people that want to know what it is, because we've got still people watching on the stream. I'll tell you that much right now.
God bless you. All right, let's see. If I go All Blacks...
where would I have put it?
That's All Blacks Sevens? No, well, I'm in all audio right now.
No, it wasn't All Blacks Sevens.
Commentary? Nah.
You're just going to get Bible commentaries.
Oh, that's no fun. What if I put rugby? Oh, it was a penalty, wasn't it? It was about a penalty.
Yeah, it was about the so what happened is the Wallabies took too long to kick the ball out.
Yeah.
And so they were given the penalty, which actually gave the All Blacks the opportunity to win the game and lost Australia the Four Nations, I believe, at the time. And one of our commentators had a great moment on air.
Yeah.
This is us replicating it for you now.
Yeah. What's going on here?
What's going on here? Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
They are going to now clip that.
That's the best.
Our social media team is now just going to be like, just going to take that.
See
make
you on
look
Instagram.
Like absolute fools.
The next trending promo will be trending with Andrew Curtis. And people are like, I knew it.
This is the content.
This is what I give my money towards every month. Goodness me, the state of it. But it was a great moment. Yeah. Let me think. What am I happiest about that we talked about today? I did love the old hand on the arm thing.
Yes.
If you only caught the last part, Andrew Bailey MP had to resign because he put his hand on someone's forearm. And then I found this image, which I don't know if you can still see on the stream or not. There we go, of Emmanuel Macron putting his hand on Donald Trump's arm. So if a hand on an arm is a sackable offence, France needs a new president.
Well, who fires the president?
Good point. I don't know if anyone does, do they?
Donald Trump, probably.
Donald Trump will probably try. Give it a crack. Also, can I say, Donald's looking a little more svelte these days.
Well, though, it seems he does have, we didn't talk about this on trending, but there may be some health concerns.
What, for Donald?
Yes, so as I mentioned, there is some mysterious bruising that has appeared on his hand, and a lot of speculation, admittedly, has come from that. I'll have a look if I can find
track it down.
The article.
Or maybe because he had a line put into his,
Yes. Well, that I think is where the speculation
whatever it is.
has come from.
Because he is 82.
Yes.
Is that right?
He's old.
He's an old chap. Or is he going to be 82 when he finishes? Let me just check.
Large bruise on Trump's hand promotes speculation over health, but White House blames shaking hands. Donald Trump's right hand appeared to be bruised when he was pictured on Monday during a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron. The US leader, who started his second stint in the White House last month, is yet to release his full medical report.
You can't tell me. You don't get bruises on the... It was on the back of his hand, though, right?
How do you get a bruise on the front of your hand?
Actually, give me your hand. Can we do this on the camera? So unless I do like a hard...
Here's the problem. We're
that
not...
would have to be...
Yeah,
this is
no,
come on.
You come this way.
I got to come this...
Oh, no.
No. You go over here.
Yeah, there.
There we go. Look, I mean, unless I'm pinching like this, I've got long fingers.
You do.
And it's still...
Your best shot.
Like, that's...
a little
That's
bit
not.
uncomfortable.
It's
but
very hard to get a lot of purchase.
I will say, unfortunately, you wouldn't have seen that on the stream.
No.
Me and Andrew holding hands, because every time the camera, you move, the camera's going, "Oh, where you going?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, where you going?"
Oh, it's a shame. Even so, these are the things that we investigate. Apparently, too, Ukraine have agreed to a critical minerals deal with the US. That's one of the things that's breaking right now.
Wow.
So
I wonder if that'll trend for next week.
I wonder if Ukraine might. I mean, this was Trump's whole thing, right? Was that America gets something back for their investment into Ukraine, like defending a nation being attacked by a aggressive invader wasn't meritorious enough, but that's fine.
Got a bit of a comment here. Says, great show, guys. Love your commentary. Very funny and provoking.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much.
Things that make you go.
Things that make you go. Maybe we can still do that. We can if we play, because I feel like that's the only thing I can do right now.
Rima, I feel like you've had your hand on my forearm for the entire show.
Okay, we need a Comment of the Day award.
We're not still live, are we, on air, right?
No.
Good, because that text came through at 1:05.
Yeah, well, then maybe they were sticking around, just like we said. We did talk about the hand on the forearm.
True. Oh, right. No. So they're still watching the stream, but they've text on. And
yeah,
I was just a little bit
we
worried.
said that they could do.
That's a very
have
good
now
point.
proven that they can. I need my hand on your forearm. That's great.
Whoever you are.
Comment of the day.
That's
Comment of the day. Loving it.
And we're sorry.
Yeah. Tell you what, let me take a quick look at what else is trending for today too, just so I can give you the heads up. Please hold caller. Alexander Westwood.
Who's that?
No idea. Oh, no, we don't want to read more about him. Apparently he is a naughty, naughty man.
Okay.
So, no, we won't read more about that guy. What else we got? Australia, South Africa. That's probably a cricket thing. Barcelona. This, by the way, I talk about how sports are everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you know this. I'm telling them.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm the audience in this situation.
That's true. Fair enough.
I'm
Okay.
echoing
You
for them.
are the audience. Yeah, you're the embodiment of. To give you an idea of how much sport there is, in our trending news right now, number one story, Australia, South Africa. Number two, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, football. Chelsea, Southampton, English football. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, also English football. It's not until we get to number 5 where Comer, C-O-M-E-R.
C-O-M-E-R?
I think this might be American news that's bleeding into New Zealand because I have no idea who that is. Jetstar, though. 24-hour discount fare sale. There you go. That's why you tuned in, just for that very reason. Insane sale from $29, apparently.
Comer threatens to remove Frost after Trump grifter dispute.
Wow. Make sense of that, if you may.
House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer threatened to remove Rep. Maxwell Frost amid a committee meeting Tuesday following a dispute over Florida Democrat calling President Trump a grifter.
Oh, I see. Wow. How dare he? Is Drake coming to New Zealand?
I don't know.
Apparently he is, what's that about? Number 7? Kiwi concerts in doubt after ticket sales cease online. Shocking Drake Aussie tour rumour surfaces. How Drake left fans fuming at Australia concert. Man, Kendrick really broke this guy.
Did you hear about his little stunt recently where he threw the slipper at the drone? It was an actual advertisement in reality.
Okay.
But it was made to look like some people had got in a drone to fly all the way up to his penthouse in Australia.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, look, we can see Drake. And then he appears at the window, opens it up and throws a slipper at it and the drone goes away.
Yeah.
But they had a laptop open on the veranda that was there and it was advertising a gambling website. And so it was all a ploy to look like this real moment, which was actually staged to promote this website because everybody was going, "Ooh,
was it
what
steak?
was on his?"
Was it steak?
I have no idea.
I feel like it is. Steak's one of these ones that's been very pervasive on social media channels by putting up memes and videos and things, and then tagging them with their logos on the top and bottom. So it's like letterbox format, and of course it's a violation of T's and C's, but it's just another way of getting people to gamble.
Yeah,
which is not great.
No.
All right. Well, look, that's kind of everything for today, everybody. So unless you've got something you'd like to add, now is your moment. But again, we always love getting your feedback on stuff too. If there's stories that you'd like us to cover more, or I don't know, just what did you enjoy? Was there anything you didn't like? You can tell us that as well. It's okay. We're all fam here. But I've had a good time.
Yeah. don't forget, you can still leave a comment below. Even if the stream ends and you think of something, you can get in touch via the text 8168 with the keyword Rema. But hey, thanks for being a part of Trending, and I guess also part of the new edition, the post show.
Yeah, the live stream experience. So thanks once again. You're amazing. Mwah. Big love. We'll see you next week. Bye.